Hey everyone, Clark is Shy here, welcome back to another video. Today I am back and today I'll be talking to you guys as to why I think the Shattered Veil will be better than the Tomb. Now the reason why I decided to make this video is because ever since the release of the Tomb, everyone has lost faith in the future for Black Ops 6 Zombies and have lost faith in Treyarch. But you gotta keep in mind, ever since the launch of Black Ops 6 Zombies, Call of Duty Zombies was at an all-time high with so much hype, everyone ranking Terminus as one of the best Zombies maps of all time, and Liberty Falls not being bad, but not as good as Terminus, but still a fun, casual, chill map to play on. And then on top of that, Citadel de Mort, granted not as great as Drac, but ranked as many people's favourite map of all time within Black Ops 6 Zombies specifically. But ever since the release of the Tomb, everyone just dive bomb Black Ops 6 Zombies, ranking it as one of the worst maps of all time and one of the worst games of all time. One map should not justify the whole entire game. We've seen moments like this, for example, with Setsubo Hiroshima within Black Ops 3 Zombies, but this is even worse because, of course, within Black Ops 3 Zombies, you had great maps like Drac, Shadows of Evil, and a fun casual map like the Giant. And I feel like Black Ops 6 Zombies, the only problem with it isn't really just the maps, it's the gameplay mechanics. But because the maps were that good for the first 3 maps that we got within Black Ops 6 Zombies, the gameplay mechanics were just we can live with them, we have great maps anyway. But the fact that we got a map that not everyone was happy with and had to rely on mechanics that no one really liked within Black Ops 6 Zombies, everyone just decided to dive bomb Black Ops 6 Zombies. But I want to talk about how the Shattered Veil will be better than the Tomb and potentially will bring back a lot of the hype that Call of Duty Black Ops 6 Zombies launch had. So let's hop right into it. So let's talk about, first of all, just a quick relay of the Tomb's positives and the negatives. Now I've made a whole video talk about if the Tomb is the worst map in Black Ops 6 Zombies, but I just want to quickly run down the Tomb's positives and negatives because we can look back on what was the good things about the Tomb that they could bring back in the Shattered Veil and what was the negatives within the Tomb that the Shattered Veil can come back. So let's start off with the positives. The first positive, the map layout for the Tomb was great. No matter where you went, whether it be left or right on the spawn room, you were going through a carnivorous type feel that was the Tomb. It fit the theme for the map really well, and then of course at the end of the day you're going to the same point where Quick Revive is in this carnivorous looking ass Frozen Dawn looking nice cave, and the theme of it, the way the map looked graphically was amazing. So honestly, shout out to the Tomb's map layout. Now of course the Dark Aether Nexus is beautiful. The only thing about it is the low quality ash rocks that are above within the Dark Aether Nexus. They're looking 480p 720p type stuff, and it is disappointing, but if you don't focus on that, the rest of the Dark Aether Nexus is beautiful. The Wonder Weapon as well, granted no one knows as to why the Ice Staff is there. It doesn't really make sense. There is no explanation as to why it was there. It's a great Wonder Weapon, and in my opinion it is the best version of the Ice Staff we have ever seen in Call of Duty Zombies. We've seen it in Black Ops 2 Origins, Black Ops 3 Origins, and I was never a fan of the Ice Staff within those games. Why? I don't know. I just never liked the feel of it, even though it was great for high rounds, which I will admit just wasn't my favourite. But using it in Black Ops 6 Zombies feels so much stronger, feels so much more satisfying, just feels great all around. And on top of that, it's another way of getting to high rounds more fun without relying on a mutant injection, just like how you're doing with every single other Black Ops 6 Zombies map. So shout out to the Ice Staff. On top of that, there was a lot of useful side Easter eggs, like getting a free alternate ammo type, being Cryo Freeze, or a free pack tier 1 crystal, and on top of that, the Golden Armor side quest, which granted is difficult to obtain, but is so worth it. So honestly, shout out to the side Easter eggs on the Tomb. On top of that, granted the boss fight has been nerfed, it is still difficult to a degree. The red mimics, the red doppelgas, the red amalgams, the red zombie, when you're having to do that part, when you're going up against those type of sentinel artifact type special enemies, they're very strong and can 2-hit down you. Even with max armor, even with full health, they are very strong. And if you go to the lasers very closely, when the sentinel artifacts are shooting the lasers, they can insta down you. So even though the boss fight has been nerfed to an extent, it's still quite difficult. So honestly, having a difficult boss fight was great. On top of that, I feel like the Tomb was really replayable, especially when, you know, it's a casual fun chill map but has a bit more difficulties compared to that of Liberty Falls. It was another map to camera grind on, to chill on, to do a lot more things on there. I just personally like the Tomb more than Liberty Falls, and Liberty Falls has a lot of replayability, and I feel like the Tomb follows that. It's just the Tomb has more exciting stuff in there, for instance the Easter egg. On top of that, there's cool pack camos, the traps as well, with like an owl trap, kind of like Indiana Jones type stuff. That is really cool all around, and the Easter egg reward is actually really good, and I actually prefer this Easter egg reward compared to that of Citadel de Moor. Citadel de Moor's Easter egg reward, honest to God, was really disappointing. We got like a Weaver, like lumberjack skin, but I really wish we call it like a wonder weapon skin for all 4 of the swords, which we still haven't gotten, by the way. Hopefully that comes within the next update for season 3. But for the tomb, we got a wonder weapon skin for the ice staff, which does look really nice. It's not all mind blowing or whatever. The one in the store is much more nicer, but still, it's kind of cool looking. So honestly, it was a great Easter egg reward. Now that's really all my positives for the tomb. Now for the negative, the first one, I've said it so many times in my streams, I've said it so many times in my videos, the story on the tomb was awful. There was no intro cutscene, there was hardly any new quotes. The intel, there was maybe like 1 or 2 interesting pieces of intel, that was really it. But not a lot of people rely on the intel, especially when there were so many to listen to within Black Ops Cold War Zombies, and that had a bad reputation. Even though I'd personally say Black Ops 6's Zombies intel system is better, especially when there's hardly any now, and you're just having to rely on character quotes and, you know, the cutscenes. The ending cutscene was awful, there's no character quotes, and on top of that, just in general, there really wasn't any that good information pieces of intel, especially when, why is the Sentinel artifact attacking us? Why is the ice staff there? What is the origin aspects of this map being in here for? Like, none of it makes sense, it was never explained. So the story really has to pop up within the Shattered Veil. Another thing as well, which kind of irks me, but I somewhat understand to a degree, is that you could not use the GS-45s or the ray gun within the tomb boss fight. Now you can, I'm not saying you can bring them into the boss fight, but you can't damage the Sentinel artifact with those 2 weapons, or even the ice staff. And you know, the ice staff kind of makes sense, but the fact that you couldn't use the ray gun or the GS-45s to damage the boss makes no sense to me. Like, if you're worried it's going to be too OP, make it so it's taking at least some damage, not a lot, just some, because the fact that we couldn't do that in our first playthrough of the tomb boss fight and we were stuck in that boss for a good 30 minutes was really annoying. So honestly, Treyarch, please make it so we can use any weapon within the boss fight, and if you're worried a certain weapon is going to make the boss difficult, make it so each weapon is only nerfed for a specific boss, being the main Easter egg boss. On top of that, you cannot go back into the boss arena after defeating the boss. Now there's some boss arenas within the Hall of Call of Duty obviously you cannot go back to, and I totally understand that, but I definitely think it should be an option for all maps. This isn't just a problem with the tomb, this is a problem with a lot of the maps, because honestly I think it would be great. I'm a fan of boss arenas, I love Revelation's boss fight arena, I love the one in the tomb, I love the one in Citadel. It's just sad to see that we could never go back to those boss fight arenas, especially when they're good training areas. For instance, at Sponoshima, you could go back to that boss arena anytime you want after you do the Easter egg, but the fact that you can't do that within the other maps after that is very disappointing in my opinion. So honestly, Treyarch, make it so we go into a nice looking boss fight arena and we could go back there after doing the Easter egg whenever we want. On top of that, the Easter egg needs to be longer. I don't mind the Black Ops 6 Zombies Easter egg steps, I really don't have a problem with them at all, but my only problem is at the fact that, one, the majority of the Easter egg involves getting the wonder weapon or getting the wonder weapon and upgrading it. That's literally the majority of the Easter eggs within Black Ops 6 Zombies, and then after that you're just doing a couple of steps that's just related to the main Easter egg itself. I want this Easter egg to be longer. I don't mind that the fact that we have to get a wonder weapon and upgrade it for the Easter egg, that's fine, but make it so there are more steps, make it so the Easter egg is longer, add in more steps dedicated to the Easter egg itself, not just the wonder weapon. I don't mind that, just add in more steps. That's my only problem with Black Ops 6 Zombies Easter eggs, so please make that happen for the Shattered Veil. On top of that, shock mimics returning, and that the fact that there was too many reused enemies within the tomb is so bad. So I don't really need to explain that, but they've actually already confirmed that amalgams and abominations from both Liberty Falls, Terminus, Citadel and the tomb are not returning within the next map. So honestly, I'm very happy all around. Now I want to talk about how the Shattered Veil can combat all the tomb's negatives, starting off with the story. Now the Dark Aether story has been rocky all around. Ever since Cold War Zombies, with having no crew, relying on so many pieces of intel, just all around, no one really knew what was going on, apart from the fact that we're helping this guy Orlov and we're having to explode the machine, and that the Omega Group is trying to obtain the power of the Dark Aether to use zombies to take over the world and stuff. And you know, that's the basic gist of it. But what about the characters? Where are our characters? We're playing as operators, you know? Like, the Dark Aether story was rocky. Granted, I think it was good in Cold War if you really invested in the intel, but again, the problem with Cold War Zombies' intel was that there was way too many. And Black Ops 6 Zombies fixed that, where there's actually not a lot of intel this time around, so thank God for that. But out of all the maps, out of everything that we've gone for the Dark Aether story era of games, from Cold War to Black Ops 6, the Mansion, Shattered Veil has to be the map that has the greatest Dark Aether story of all time. I mean, for obvious reasons, you know, it's the Mansion, it's got to do with Richtofen. We could see Sam for all we know. We're going to see Sam AI. We could see the return of Dr. Jansen, Ava from Modern Warfare Zombies, which is Sam's child, for God's sake. And then of course we could see Panos return, which I think is very obvious. And of course from the second teaser that we got for the Shattered Veil, we see one of the people from the 9 Order from the Chaos story with a 9 in Ancient Evil. So honestly, the story's gonna pop off, because after the Tim story, it was really goddamn disappointing. On top of that, the intro cutscene has to happen. The fact that we haven't gotten one yet is disappointing and quite alarming, but we've got like 2 weeks, a week away before the actual map comes out, so here's hoping that an intro cutscene comes out. On top of that, the ending cutscene has to pop off, because apparently the next map after the mansion / the Shattered Veil is going to be the Janus Towers that you can see outside of Liberty Falls, and then apparently there's going to be one more map, but no one knows what that last map is going to be. So honest to God, who knows, maybe there will be no 5th DLC map and there might just be the Janus Towers DLC for ending, and that's it. Who knows, we'll just need to see. But if that is the case, make this end cutscene pop off. Let us see Rick Toffin, or somehow, shape or form we hear him, or he communicates with us, just some way, shape or form. Make the cutscenes bang. Make the story great within the Shattered Veil. On top of that, make this boss fight difficult just as much as you did with Citadel Daymore and the Tomb. Because honest to God, as much as I love the Terminus boss fight, and I personally think that is still one of the best boss fights we've gone in Zombies, it's relatively easy, especially if you just rely on the GS45s. Citadel Daymore, this might just be a skill issue, but I'm still struggling until this day, and even then, I still think it's somewhat difficult to an extent. And on top of that, granted the Tomb has been nerfed to an extent with its boss fight, it's still quite difficult. So honestly, please make this boss fight really difficult as well, Treyarch, for this map. And I also want to give the potential of 2 boss fights being in this map, kind of similar to Terminus, where you had to fight the Nathan amalgam and then the actual Patient 13 boss fight. As you know, there is a bone dinosaur within the mansion. Now, a lot of people have been saying it could be a trap, it could be a boss fight, but then of course we got revealed the Sam AI is going to be on the map, and that's probably going to be the boss fight. But here's my idea: give us the dinosaur boss fight, give us that bona fide dinosaur boss fight. You know, he's been corrupted by the Dark Ether, he comes to life, kind of similar to the Guardian within Citadel Daymore, but the moment you defeat him, he will then permanently be a trap for the rest of the game. You know, you've befriended him, you've defeated him, now you'll be able to use him as a trap within the map. Wouldn't you think that would be sick? I would think that would be awesome. So please, Treyarch, make that happen. And then of course the boss fight being the Sam AI, who's going to betray us, which I think is pretty obvious. So make that happen, Treyarch, please. I think that would be awesome, and I think that would be a huge missed opportunity if you guys didn't do that. On top of that, Treyarch have been doing this a lot. Now granted, they've not been eye-popping, except from, I'd say, probably the Tomb and Citadel Daymore. Make a completely new boss fight arena, because honestly, from what it looks like, the boss fight arena either is going to be the whole entire map, kind of like how they've done it with Voyage of Despair, or it's going to be just in the bunker, the research facility down underneath the mansion. Now, if that is the case, cool stuff, but I really want to see a cool boss fight arena, and my idea of a cool boss fight arena for the Shattered Veil is going inside the Sam AI. As you know, in the ending cutscene for Forsaken, Sam went inside the Forsaken, and the Forsaken got sucked in to the Sam AI robot. Now, what if we got sucked into the Sam AI robot, and now we have to escape it by defeating whatever is in the Sam AI, and that's the boss fight arena within it? I feel like that would be awesome. So Treyarch, please make that happen, or just a new boss fight arena just outside the mansion somewhere. I think that would be great. On top of that, the Easter egg needs to be longer and should not just be mainly focusing on getting the Wonder Weapon and upgrading it. Again, like I said previously, I don't mind steps like that, but make it so there's dedicated steps to the actual Easter egg and just not the Wonder Weapon, and make it so there's more steps so the Easter egg is longer. On top of that, no reused enemies. I've already stated it, we're not getting amalgams, we're not getting abominations, that's great, but they've not said anything about doppelgast or shock mimics, which is very, very disappointing. Now, I know how people feel about vermin and parasites being the new dog grounds. Honestly, I don't mind that personally. I don't mind them taking over the whole Hellhound Max Ammo round type stuff. You know, I never saw really a complaint for that. I guess the only reason why people were disappointed was because they only suited Terminus, which I can completely understand. But after seeing that it's going to be, you know, the main thing, the main max ammo round enemies, I don't really get the complaint about it, but I understand it to an extent. But out of all the maps to have the Hellhounds come back, this would be the map, because as you know, the Hellhounds within Modern Warfare Zombies is actually Max's new dog from the end cutscene of Married to Toten. So if we could potentially see the experiments that, you know, Rick Toffin's planning within the mansion, and we could potentially see the Hellhounds come back, it would make the most sense to come back within the Shattered Veil. But aside from that, no reused enemies, not hearing amalgams or abominations come back sound great. But what about doppelgas? What about shock mimics? I don't know. cool. Apparently we're going to get a Panzer coming back, but it's with Klaus. I feel like that would be cool, the fact that Klaus is an enemy and we get to beat his ass. You know, Klaus is cool and all, but ever since my Zombies Treyarch 3 Easter egg speedruns, I've always hated the so if we could take him down, that would be great. On top of that, I would love to see a completely new wonder weapon, or a completely new version of an already seen wonder weapon that we've had in the past. For instance, take the Wonder Wolf that we've seen in the past, because apparently the Wonder Wolf is going to be the wonder weapon of this map. Now I don't mind the Wonder Wolf, but take Tag the Tone for example. They took the Wonder Wolf and made it something completely new. The Wonder Wolf DG Sharpshooter, a semi-auto sniper rifle Wonder Wolf. Now granted, me personally, it wasn't the best depending on how you used it, but was definitely cool to see a completely new version of it. But if they're going to bring back the Wonder Weapon, put in the base version. You know what? Why not? But give us different elemental versions of the Wonder Wolf. We've never seen that before, especially when the Wonder Wolf was broken within the elevator by dark ether energy. Could you imagine like a dark ether type looking Wonder Wolf? I feel like that would be sick as hell. On top of that, we're apparently getting the Raygun Mark IIs back. I doubt that's going to happen. Apparently we're going to get like elemental ones, not similar to Alpha Omega, but just completely new ones in general. So honestly, I'm all there for it. But a completely new wonder weapon, especially when this map could have double tap coming back, would be absolutely heat. So Treyarch, please give us a completely new unique wonder weapon, or hell, give us a completely new unique wonder weapon and give us the Wonder Wolf back. As long as there's something new in there for the wonder weapon, I'll be happy all around. On top of that, the best thing I would say about maps like the Tomb and Liberty Falls is that the side Easter eggs are amazing on those maps. Liberty Falls has more fun side Easter eggs. It has some useful ones, yeah, but I'd say it more focuses on fun, whereas the Tomb mainly has useful ones. Give us useful and fun side Easter eggs within the Shattered Veil. I feel like that would be great and a good balance between both of them, especially when this map has been leaked to apparently be like the Tomb in Liberty Falls in terms of map size and what it could have in it. On top of that, give us more multiple ways in order to get to high rounds without relying on just the mutant injection, because that's the problem with Black Ops 6 Zombies high rounds at the moment, is that the fact that to get to high rounds you really just need to rely on the mutant injection, which is disappointing. But me personally, I love high rounds, even if it's just doing the mutant injection strat. Black Ops 6 Zombies high rounds I still quite find fun, but I totally understand where people are coming from with the problem that the fact that the only way to get to high rounds is to rely on the mutant injections. Give us multiple ways to do high rounds, please Treyarch, especially with the Shattered Veil. I feel like that would completely not only fix the game entirely, but would also help this map be a good map to high round on. On top of that, replayability. Make the replayability pop off on this map, because I think the replayability for the Tomb, as much as a lot of people don't like it, I personally have replayed the Tomb a lot, and I think the replayability on that map is actually good to an extent for the community, and the replayability for Liberty Falls is phenomenal. And the fact that this map has been labelled to be somewhat like Liberty Falls and the Tomb in terms of its layout and stuff, and what else they were explaining for when they talked about the Tomb previously, I feel like this map could have great replayability too. Now, I did ask your guys' thoughts on Twitter on what you guys think will make the Shattered Veil better than the Tomb, and this is what you guys said. We got one from Gahi Pride, and he says, Clarky, use your powers to cancel the exam that I have on April 3rd and 4th. I beg of you. My powers activated! Did it work? Please tell me it worked. Comment on this video, tell me it worked if it did. We got one from Joe May, and he says, it will be very hard for it not to be. I have the Tomb as a mid-map, to be honest. Some cool stuff for sure, but nothing riveting for me. The map alone is setting the tone Shattered Veil. And again, I totally agree. The Tomb is okay at best. Not the best, not the worst, but okay. And for a cool ass map like Shattered Veil, and it being based on the mansion, Richtofen's mansion, where so much shit could go down, it would be very hard for this map not to be better than the Tomb. So 100% agree. We got one from Insane Gamer, and he says, I think the map depth and Easter egg difficulty will be similar, possibly slightly better. I'm hoping for a badass boss fight, but not expecting a map of all time. I do think the story could go well with Richtofen, Sam, Panos, whoever Panos was talking to in the Dark Ether, and Dr. Jansen. Oh, and I also hope Pac returns and we get one total line about his goddamn warheads. I think he means Peck, not Pac-a-Punch. And you know, I'm going to agree with basically everything you said, but the Peck thing, 100% agree. Because Peck was advertised to be in the Tomb, but he did not speak once, and I mean once, without the whole entirety of the Tomb. So Peck, you gotta return, my boy. You gotta return. We got one from Mackler Games, and he says, quick and short, yes. Story, 100%. Gameplay, we will see. There is only DG2 Wonder Wolf and 3 Raygun Mark IIs. That's going to be disappointing as it was leaked. I want challenging, long Easter Easter egg that is really fun to do, plus a lot of good rewards for side Easter eggs, so it's going to be better than the Tomb. I totally get it. If the wonder weapons are really just going to be the Wonderwolf DG2 and the Raygun Mark 2s as it was leaked, then it will be disappointing. Not awful, but just disappointing, because we would prefer something else, but still good and fun overall. But everything else, you know, a challenge along Easter egg, a lot of great rewards and useful fun side Easter eggs, if that comes in within the Shard Veil, I'll be happy all around. So totally agree with you there. We got one from Mala, and he says, I'm hopeful that it will be. The story is in a desperate need of some direction and mystery. I expect this map to have some big lore reveals, and if it's just we're here, we can finally find Richtofen, oh shit, Sam's evil, I'm going to be so disappointed. I totally agree. So honestly, please Shark, make the story pop off. We got one from Mr. L, and he says, I find it hilariously difficult to believe that the Shattered Veil would be worse than the Tomb, as the Tomb is just the new camera grinding map. But to answer your question, given showing that amalgams and abominations won't be on the Shattered Veil, it's going to be a league spell. And honestly, that was a lot of problems that people had with Citadel. Granted, it was just amalgams, and of course the Tomb having amalgams, doppelgas, and shock mimics. You know, that was a big problem for the Tomb, 100%, especially when we see mimics in both Modern Warfare Zombies, Cold War, and now Black Ops 6. Especially shock mimics, they're even worse. And of course, people having problems with amalgams already. You know, I totally agree. I think a lot of people would just prefer this map over the Tomb because we don't have those enemies coming back. So I'm going to agree with you on that one. We got one from Dark Ops, and he says, here's the thing, even if it is, it's still a Black Ops 6 map. Something I've noticed with every Black Ops 6 map is that aside from Terminus and Liberty Falls, who were created for the purpose of being opposites, every map plays fundamentally the same. Shattered Veil has to mix things up, and I totally agree. A lot of the things with the Black Ops 6 Zombies maps is they are completely new. There's something new within every Black Ops 6 Zombies maps, but I don't think it's the maps themselves. There are definitely new unique side quests, new Easter eggs, all that stuff, but the only problem is, you know, the reused enemies and of course the gameplay mechanics themselves. Sure, they'll add new mechanics to the games, like of course new ammo types, new bosses, new perks, stuff like that, but that's really it, because on top of that we are having so many other mechanics that we've already had brought into that map, just with new stuff thrown in there. And I feel like that's really the main problem, not the maps themselves, because honestly I love the Black Ops 6 Zombies maps. I really do. I don't have a problem with them whatsoever. I think it really is just how the mechanics and how they play within each map. For instance, high rounds, all you're using for every single map, apart from the Tomb because the ice staff is great, I'd say the only thing that you're using to get to high rounds on every map is the mutant injection. So honestly, I totally understand from where you're coming from, but I don't think that's the problem with the maps themselves. I think it's the gameplay mechanics within Black Ops 6 Zombies, but that's just me personally. We got it from Caleb, and he says, if the Shattered Veil is worst, we are doomed. I'll raise my hand up, as much as I love Black Ops 6 Zombies, and I'll play it till the very end of its life cycle, and we'll probably come back to it from years to come. I totally agree. The Tomb story was disappointing. I love the Tomb all around, but the story really has to pop off, and if the story is hella disappointing, it'll just make me just want to just turn the map away and just make me not want to look at it. So please do not be worse than the Tomb. We're going from Too Bad for Xbox, and he says, if the ending cutscene of the Shard Veil contains a sex scene, it will be the best map of all time, period. Let it be known, this man's favourite map of all time, Shadows of Evil, and I think I might know why.
I know I yelled at you real bad. I know I said some things I shouldn't have said.
We got one from The Deceiver, and he says, I sure hope so. This might be a hot take, but the Tomb was ridiculously mid. Haven't touched it since being the Easter egg. Dude, that's not a hot take. I think all the community would fall in love with you because of that take. Me personally, I would rank, you know, the Tomb just in the middle personally as well, but I still think it's a good map all around. Not the worst like people are making it out to be, but okay at best. We got one from Logan, and he says, boy, I sure hope so. At least it's better than Overload. That's an inside joke. My guys, I love you, but I've had bad experiences with your custom map Overload. We got one from Implet, and he says, I think the Shattered Veil will be better than the Tomb for sure. However, I don't have high hopes. I believe in terms of BO6 map rankings, Shattered Veil will probably fall above the Tomb, but below Liberty Falls, Terminus, and Citadel Day More. Now that's interesting, because how I rank my Black Ops 6 Zombies maps as of right now is start from the bottom would be Liberty Falls, then the Tomb, then Citadel Day More, then Terminus. For me, it would probably be over Liberty Falls, the Tomb, but not over Citadel Day More and Terminus. That's probably how it's going to be as of right now, because even though a lot of people have really different takes about the swords within Citadel Day More, you cannot deny they're bad ass. The fact that we're in a nice fridge village, on top of that there's a nice castle there too, with a lot of side Easter eggs, like the Maya side Easter egg, the chess piece guardian side Easter egg, you know, there's cool stuff within the castle. So honestly, in terms of just being a blast in general, like, you know, it's the biggest map we've got in Black Ops 6 Zombies history, and in Call of Duty Zombies history, at least I'm pretty sure. But aside from that, that's how I think the Shattered Veil will be ranked. I think it'll be better than the Tomb of Liberty Falls, but not better than Citadel and Terminus. So we'll just see what happens when it releases. We go on from Revived Gamer, and he says, only if the almighty Clarky Shade deems his prediction that it will be so. I deem that it will be better than the Tomb, 100%. And if it isn't, you can come back and slap me later. And Crooked Bow actually replied to Revived Gamer saying, the almighty Father Clarky Shade saves Richthofen, and the next map is the Shed, where the infamous Clark skit took place for ZWC. Man, that was 4 years ago. Time flies. Got one from Lucas, and he says, it will likely be better, but not by much, just slowly due to how the core system currently works. It's incredibly hard for the maps to stand out amongst each other, as features like perks, weapons, equipments, streaks and specialists are the same across all the maps. I will say they can surprise me and solve this to an extent. Having double tap early from the machine plus a ton of DLC weapons on the wall could help it stand out, but in my opinion what it needs is 3+ gold armor style unique unlocks in order for it to feel like something special. And you know what, like I said previously, I don't think the problems are the maps themselves, it's the problem that the mechanics are the same for the whole entirety of the game. Now, of course, you will have mechanics that will be the same for every map, and that's not just Black Ops 6 Zombies, that's like every single Call of Duty Zombies game, but there was always something new that would completely change how the gameplay works within each map. Within Black Ops 6 Zombies, the gameplay doesn't change at all. All you're doing is playing how you would normally play within every single map, just on a new map. That is the problem with Black Ops 6 Zombies, not the maps, but the mechanics. Not saying that the mechanics are bad, they're just not unique enough to each map, and that's one of Black Ops 6 Zombies' bad qualities. So honestly, 100%, 1000% agree. We got one from Yo, also known as Koala, and he says, I think so. I personally liked the Tomb. It was a bit bare bones, but I liked the gameplay and overall atmosphere of the map. Hoping Shattered Veil is a fun map with good story revelations. Again, I agree. I personally like the Tomb. Everything you said there is what I like about the Tomb, but the story has to be 100% better because the story was really disappointing within the Tomb. But aside from that, do I think that the Shattered Veil will be better than the Tomb? I really do think so. At best, if I had to like give her a percentage, I'd say a good 80 to 90%. I think it will be better than the Tomb. If it isn't, it's going to be really disappointing. But the story, my biggest thing with this map, the story for the Dark Keeper has to pop off. So please, Treyarch, let this go hard. But yes, guys, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all did enjoy. If you guys did, please subscribe, leave a like, click the notification bell, always to the channel. I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you all in the next video or live stream. And goodbye.